everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playalog. With postseason approaching, we wanted to take a moment right here and look at a couple X factors for these Toronto Blue Jays. If they are serious about making a deep run in October, like they say that they are, these are a couple things that are either going to need to go right for them, or they're going to have to play their cards properly in executing said things that we're going to talk about here. Before we get into it, please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button, and of course, let us know your thoughts down below. What is the number one X factor for you for this Toronto Blue Jays team if they want to make a very deep run? Now, number one, it's going to be up to John Schneider, and that's why I was saying how you play your cards in certain things, because we have a whole hand, our bullpen, a bunch of different playing cards right here. However you want to execute them, that's going to have a big impact on the game, obviously.
Yeah, John Schneider is going to be very important for this Blue Jays postseason run because he's got a lot of pitchers that either are very good or very cold in any given week. We've seen it all season long. It go flipping back and forth, back and forth. So first things first, he has to understand who to trust out of that bullpen, and it's going to change probably as the postseason goes on, and he needs to be able to change who he trusts pretty quickly. Going into the postseason, this is the bullpen in the last 30 days, in the month of September. These are the guys who are doing it. Braden Fisher right now has been on another level. 9 1/3 inning pitch with an ERA of 0.96. That guy, I think we all could agree, Fish Boy, we can trust him. Probably got to use him in some high leverage situations. Maybe if there's even the closer, which is Jeff Hoffman, who's also doing well, the 104 ERA right now. If he's unavailable and you're going back to back for closing, consider Fish Boy. He's done it in high leverage moments before.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a week or 2 weeks ago or something like that, and there was like a two inning
in the extra innings, and we
where
get the
Braden
win.
Fisher had to come out here, and that was the moment for me. He saved the game, and like against tough competition, like really probably should have been hit, and he was just phenomenal and managed to get that win for the Toronto Blue Jays. But that was the moment for me when I saw Braden Fisher, and I went, okay, you can be a high leverage guy. We can put you in the biggest moments, and you are not going to blink.
Absolutely. So Fisher's got to be there, and like I mentioned, Jeff Hoffman has been turning it around, thankfully, right in time for the postseason. So you do have to trust him going into the postseason. Very same ERA in the month of September is Yariel Rodriguez. Good to see him bounce back from that rough stretch he had earlier in late August and early September. And then you have Sir Anthony Dominguez. We know a lot of people love him. Those are your top four right now for the Toronto Blue Jays. If you need outs, if you have runners on the pond in scoring position in a tight game, you throw him out there no matter the situation. Because for me too, he's got to be able to play these guys situationally. You can't just go, okay, blankly, okay, I'm going to pull this guy out for the 7th, 8th, and 9th. No, if you're in the 5th inning and your starter is getting beat up and you need an out, consider burning one of your bullpen bullets, because if you let up that lead, that's it. You can't afford to lose that lead in the postseason.
100%, man. Yeah, and again, like using these guys and utilizing them properly is going to be very important. Now, the following individual on that list is Brendan Little, and I think that he is like kind of a 1B if we're talking about bullpen X factors, because Brendan Little is the guy when it comes to lefties. He is the one lefty in the pen we've had him up all season long effectively. Now, right now on the team, they have Mason Fluharty, but that's because Chris Bassett is on the IL.
Right.
That could obviously change before the postseason. So walking in to October, it's very likely that the one and only lefty in the pen is going to be, other than Eric Lauer, is going to be Brendan Little. So this is your guy in those moments. We know that he likes to go to Brendan Little, and he's been trusting him all season long. This is somebody that it's going to need to lock in the postseason, because we have seen the ups and we have seen the downs with Brendan Little.
Yeah, I've always said when I watch the play-by-plays, he's very contrast, and he's also very easy to predict. The contrast is he strikes out a lot of guys, gets a lot of whiffs, but he also walks a lot of guys. And the easy to predict side of things is we can see it right here. When he's ahead, he's going to go to the knuckle curve. And when he's behind, he's going to go to the fastball. And if you don't believe me, look at this little illustration by Baseball Savant. It's called Plinko, and it shows what exact pitch he's throwing, the percentages basically in this little pie chart in a certain count. And as you can see, this purple color right here, 0-1, he gets ahead, I'm going to go to the knuckle curve probably about 67% of the time. But when it's 0-2, and I've said this on the stream many times, I know what pitch is coming. It's a knuckle curve, and it's going to be in the dirt. And I am right, because he's done it. It looks like basically 100% of the time this season. Same with 1-2. It's about 95% of the time he's going to knuckle curve. 2-2, maybe 85 to 80% of the time. So batters, they know this. They know Brandon Little. If I'm behind in the count, I can wait until about 3-2, and then I probably will get 50-50 chance I'm going to get that four-seamer right there, and that's either that whiff or that walk that we're talking about right there. So Brandon Little, and again, looking at where Brandon Little throws knuckle curve, it's mostly out of the zone. So for me, to see Brandon Little make an adjustment, he needs to do this one thing. He's got to be able to establish that knuckle curve in the zone, because he's been missing a hell of a lot this season, as you can see based on the illustration. And if he can do that, even though the hitters are knowing, oh, okay, the knuckle curve is coming, I could probably sit and be patient. Well, if you throw in the zone, now they got to swing and they got to challenge that crazy movement on that pitch.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Brendan Little is in a position where he could set up the ultimate trap card right now.
Right.
Because I've never seen a Plinko chart like that so dramatic,
right,
where it is quite literally close to 100% of the time in certain scenarios, this is what you're doing. And in the opposite scenario, you were doing the opposite. All of the hitters that you're going to face, they have that chart as well. They've seen that.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you then do the Uno reverse and you pull your trap card right there, and then you do the complete opposite, I guarantee you are going to be catching those guys completely caught off guard. So, honestly, if you're Brendan Little, like, one, you got to lock in, but two, I think this is the perfect time, perfect opportunity to change up a little bit of the game plan, because no one is going to be expecting it.
No one. And then when you catch them off guard, they don't have a lot of time to adjust in between series and in between opponents. They're not going to have that time. So I like that idea of throwing the Uno reverse. Now, the next thing the Blue Jays need to lock in for the postseason is they need to figure out a strategy with the back end of that rotation, because there's a lot of question marks back there. Right? We got Chris Bassett hitting the IL. He might be back for the ALDS, but still, when he comes back, are you going to get the longevity that we've seen all season from Chris Bassett? Max Scherzer as well. We've seen him get blown up. We're going to see a start from this week, and hopefully he bounces back, but there's not a lot of longevity there. And then you got Trey Savage as well as an option for that back end of that rotation. He's a rookie. Are you going to trust him 3 times through the lineup in a postseason start? The key for the Blue Jays is they're going to need to get some length out of those guys, and if they don't, John Schneider, going back to him, he's got to be able to have a quick hook on those guys.
Well, and I'm cautious to use the term quick hook, because I do agree with you, but I always think about back in the day with Jose Barrios when the hook was a little bit too quick.
That's different. You got to trust your guys like Gausman, and you got to trust your guys like Bieber.
Agreed. But I also do think that if, for instance, Max Scherzer is dialed on the bump right here, and he walks a guy, or maybe he gives up a hit and there's a runner on or something like that, I would still give him the benefit of the doubt if we'd seen 3 innings previously of him just being absolutely locked in. So I do think that there needs to be an element of trusting your eyeball. However, I also really think that those first 2 starts where it's Gausman and it's Bieber, and I guess following that as well, assuming it's going to be Savage, those first 3 starts are going to be so crucial that the starters actually can go far in those ball games, because then it's going to allow John Schneider to utilize the bullpen that much more to give him the option of the quick hooks on the Max Scherzers or the Chris Bassett's, because I don't want to be in a spot where it's like, in Shane Bieber's start, he can only go 1 time through the lineup, and now it's like we got to burn everyone in that pen, and now we're screwed for the following day, which is Savage, and that's just not a spot where you want to be. So it all ties in together, but I 100% agree with you in the standpoint where Gausman and Bieber, you got to lock them in. You got to assume and hope that they are going to give you a solid outing. But for you Savage onwards, I think that there will be an element of, okay, come 4th inning, we are going to be warming the bullpen up. So we got to have that mentality walking into it.
I guess that's like a bonus X factor right there. Is you got to have Bieber and Gausman go pretty deep in game 1 and 2 of an ALDS series, assuming they get there, because then then it opens up the option of you got Eric Lauer in that bullpen who can give you some length, and you got Jose Barrios in that bullpen to give you length. So if Scherzer or let's say Chris Bassett or Trey Savage, whoever they decide to be in that rotation, can't go deep, and they only go 2 times through the lineup, they're 4 innings in, their pitch count is high, they've given up like 6 hits and 3 walks, they don't have their best stuff, well, then you can throw one of those 2 guys out there to save that bullpen for the next game.
Well, that's the thing, right? Just think about how much more confident you'd feel like if walking into the Scherzer start, it's not just Scherzer, but it's Scherzer dash Lauer dash Jose Barrios.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, we can just, the second that there is any problems whatsoever, bang, Uno reverse right there, and now we're throwing in Jose. And you didn't see that one coming, did you? But if we had to burn those two guys previously, you're not going to have that option. So honestly, it all ties in together. But point being, back into the rotation is shoddy at best.
Yeah.
So John Schneider's going to have his work cut out from there. And yeah, probably on the surface level, we can just say a quick hook will be necessary.
It will be necessary. Now, moving on from the pitching, we have to, of course, talk about the offense, because the offense in the last little bit hasn't been good. But for the majority of the season, it's been the reason why the Blue Jays are a 90-win team as of right now. They are the number one team in batting average and the number one team in on-base percentage and the top 10 in runs scored. That offense, though, in the last 15 days, as you can see, a lot of these offensive players by the Blue Jays haven't been themselves. Of course, George Springer, he's the GOAT. He's the MVP. I saw an article, he's like top 5 in MVP votes. That's a prediction. I believe it, because even though he's a DH, right, he's not going to get a lot of on-field stuff. I digress. Moving on to the other guys in this team. Ernie Clement's been good this last 15 days, but you need guys like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to bounce back. He had a couple hits the other night. Hopefully that continues when they get back home at the Rogers Center. You need guys like Dalton Varsho. That whole home run surge that we saw from him throughout the year when he was healthy, you need that to come back for postseason. Same with Addison Barger. Nathan Lucas being a threat at the top line. You need that back. Point being, a lot of guys are cold right now, and if the Blue Jays, forget the pitching, if they want any chance of success this postseason, they need those guys. This might be the biggest X factor, in my opinion.
I don't even know if this is like an X factor. This is just like a foundational thing that you have to have, right? Because none of those, like the bullpen decisions and Brendan Little being good, and how are we going to manage Max Scherzer in the back half of the rotation? None of that shit even matters if the lineup is playing like they did this past week.
Yeah, you got no runs. You can't You can't save runs.
The foundation of the ball team that we have watched all season long has been a squad that can do damage against anybody, that can hit off of good pitching, and that will constantly be threatening, getting on the base paths, having long at bats, 6, 7, 8 pitch at bats, really wearing down guys.
Yeah, we need
That's
that.
not what we saw this past week. So if they want to do anything, and I mean anything, that's step one. If they have that, okay, now we got a chance. Now we can start, kind of criticizing and managing our bullpen pieces and playing our cards in that regard. But that's obviously going to be step one. And that's what I'm going to be looking at this entire week. Obviously, I want to win the AL East, but most importantly for me, how does the offense look?
I like what you said about at-bats right there. They need 6, 7, 8 pitch at-bats. They need quality at-bats, because they don't the reason why they produce so good offensively with the average and on base is because of the good at-bats. Right, we didn't see it, so that's something to look out for this week. Now the final, and this is, I guess, a pretty massive X factor as well. Speaking of the offense, they need Bo Bichette back to drive in runs. Simple as that, right? We saw a dip in performance, but obviously there's a lot of guys that contributed to that. But we also were missing Bo Bichette. Thankfully, he's feeling better every single day, and it does feel like he will be back for the postseason. I even think if we don't make ALDS, they're going to rush him back anyways for the wild card.
They would.
I can't imagine you don't throw out Bo Bichette for the wild card. I would feel nervous going to a series without him, because he is still the number one player in baseball when it comes to average with runners in scoring position. This lineup does not go without Bo Bichette. Look at 80 RBIs. Are you kidding me? Because he's not a big home run guy this year. So most of his runs driven in have to be with runners scoring position. He has 80. Look at everybody else. 46, 46, 50, 39. Those are the guys following him with average runners scoring position. They need Bo Bichette. He's a major part of this lineup, and if they get him back, that's massive.
Yeah, I do think that they are, well, for starters, they're going to get him back. The question is really like, at what caliber of play is he going to be at? And we just got to, again, I guess that's where the X factor comes in. We got to hope that it's that caliber. Because what this lineup has looked like without Bo Bichette, I know it's coincided with a lot of guys getting cold at the wrong time, but the lineup has looked significantly thinner with Bo Bichette not in there right now. Injecting him into that thing, he is a threat to anyone. We've seen him have the 2 for 4 games, 3 for 5 games consistently all season long. And also too, to your point about them rushing him back for the wild card, guaranteed they will rush him back. Because I just had this thought as well. that could be the last series that Bo Bichette's ever a Toronto
I gotta
Blue Jay.
soak as much Bo Bichette out of this
we gotta
team.
soak as we gotta absolutely. Are you kidding me? Like again, I hope that's not true, but it's not impossible that this will be the last month of time that Bo Bichette's a Toronto Blue Jay. Fingers crossed that's not the case.
Yeah,
you're gonna play your guy.
And look, I guess the positive thing here for the Blue Jays, if they do again get the ALDS or a wild card, they probably have home field advantage. The point is they'll probably have home field advantage for that first, at least game or two in the postseason. Get on the trajectory machine.
Oh,
I mean, you want to get a guy your timing back. I mean, even this week, they're back at the Rogers Center. He better be on that trajectory machine. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, it's a machine that simulates a pitcher and his release point. They have a little video monitor of a pitcher. That's the best way for me to get his timing back and stay on that every single day.
That might be the ultimate X factor, actually. Make sure
the trajectory machine.
Make sure the trajectory machine is plugged in, ready to go, because the boys are going to be needing it. Folks, let us know your thoughts. Put all this in the comments down below. Please make sure to hit that like, smash that subscribe button. If you have the option to hit the hype button, then please hit that as well. $4 a month to become a YouTube member. And thank you to all of our current YouTube members. You guys are amazing.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
And as always,
go Jays, go!